So since you can't do it, I'll do it. What's in the news? Beep, 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 boop, boop, boop.
Oh,
beep,
my
beep,
goodness.
Boop, 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 beep,
Thanks,
beep,
man.
boop, boop, boop,
All right, we got some big stories this week. Nothing bigger than the fact that everything to do with Star Wars Battlefront is now a fucking trash fire.
What? You're not serious.
How do I change the podcast to make it look at it?
I'm looking at it.
Oh, so everyone's looking at an ad now. All right. So this has gone...
I wasn't aware.
So this is now such a fucking massive scamble. Scamble? Scamble!
Scamble. It's a scamble.
Scandal that it is now...
No, scamble.
It is now scambled outside of video games, and real newspapers and whatnot are reporting on
I
it.
think it's like Belgium was like, this shit's fucking...
So let's go into all the stuff since we talked about it last podcast. One, Wooly is a seer. He is a very smart predictor of industry crap.
To be fair, that was a very easy thing.
Yeah, but I'm being complimentary.
Yeah, that's true.
Wooly described last week on the podcast how all of your outrage was predicted and accounted for.
And that reduced costs / grinding for your heroes would be implemented soon.
And it was later that day.
But was it though?
No, because it didn't actually change anything. All your rewards were also slashed by 75%, so it actually meant nothing. And then, right before the game came out, they pulled all the microtransactions and made a big apology. Said, "Hey, whoa, we fucked up. Whoa, we gotta look into how to make this fair in the future."
You know what's really gross about that particular statement that they made?
What's that?
Because it was attributed to a DICE employee. Because then you'll feel some type of sympathy.
Yeah, because DICE. I like DICE.
I like DICE too. They are actually the least responsible, not the least, but like the lesser responsible for these decisions. But if it said like whoever the fuck
EA brand
producer man would have gone over as well. So I don't like grabbing a corpse and deflecting the bullets with it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I know this is my decision and I made it and I forced you to go along with my decision. You're now going to stand in front of me and take the bullets.
Big ups to that DICE employee that was like, sure.
I'll fall on the sword for you guys.
I made a tweet about this. It was just very lackadaisical. But like I made a tweet that was just like, hey, everyone, we're sorry we got caught.
Very sorry.
We thought that the Star Wars brand was big enough to deflect from all this negativity. It is not.
And that's where we're going to go to in the next part of this story.
What's the next part?
Two parts of this. Why did EA decide to pull the microtransactions? Well, there's two reasons, and they're probably both the reason.
Yeah.
Number one is Belgium, part of the European Union, goes, oh man, these loot boxes are real gross. This looks a lot like gambling. Maybe we should have our gambling commission look into this shit. As I saw somebody say earlier about this, EA fucked up and tried to greed so hard they may have actually ruined loot crates for everyone. Because if the European Union judiciary looks at this and goes, "That's gambling," that's one of the world's major markets that basically bans loot boxes.
I've been to Vegas.
And that has a trickle down because it's like, oh, we can't count on that money. Does Europe get shittier games or better games? Do then people try and get the European... it's a mess, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing, which is probably more important... Now, this is somewhat unconfirmed. This is somewhat going on
crystals.
Assumptions. What I would call reasonable assumptions. What is known is that... I forget the guy's name.
Doesn't matter.
It is the brand manager or CEO or some big fucking honcho over at Disney called the president of EA.
I love this part.
4 hours before the microtransactions went poof and disappeared. And it has been assumed, it has been stated and assumed to be true that the gist of it was, motherfuckers, we did not give you Star Wars so you could have Star Wars is bullshit in the news all day.
Yeah.
Last Jedi's coming out. Also, This looks like a fucking mess, and I don't know this for sure, but I believe the rights holder like Disney does have the ability to go, hey, maybe we won't give you Star Wars next time. Maybe we'll give it to somebody who doesn't get our news in the dirt.
I thought EA and Disney Star Wars deal lasted until 2019, and then they have the option to re-up or whatever.
That is probably the case.
I think I heard that. I'm not 100% sure. But it doesn't matter. Imagine if you go to see The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And you're sitting in your chair, right? And then it's like, put more money into your chair and we will show you the next scene.
Yeah.
Or if you don't like that Kylo Ren is losing, put more money into it and then he'll win.
Yeah.
Because that's like... Movies have gotten pretty bad with like D-box seating and 3D and shit, but they'll never video games are so much more grimy.
The way games can work, you'll never be able to grime it up as hard.
You can't stop us.
So let's say they're locked in until 2019, right?
Can
you imagine what happens to EA's stock price? Their stock is already tanked a little bit following the pull of the microtransactions. They're telling investors, "Oh, don't worry, guys. Us removing the primary monetization thing of our biggest fall game is not going to affect our earnings," which is nonsense, because if it didn't, then why do you, right? But let's assume they're locked in until 2019. I can see their stock just tanking when Disney goes out. We're not re-upping with those fucks, right? And that's the kind of thing where it's if they lose it, does that mean that Disney, which has done this before with Marvel stuff, would discontinue the ability to buy those old games and stuff like that?
Possibly. I think Deadpool just got taken off the Steam store. There's a whole Deadpool's on sale.
Buy it because it's gone.
Because we don't get the rights to that shit no more.
It's crazy.
Because Activision or whatever. You know what I'm really interested in? Not this. I'm interested in the fact that Julian Eckbert, whatever, the director of Factor 5, recently was on an interview and stuff that's you know what I want released? I'm trying to get released are Star Wars, unreleased Wii compilation thing in HD, where it's all the original trilogy shit redone, HD, rebalance and whatever. Release these right now, please, God. Why don't you release these now? I assume it's because EA has the rights to it,
probably.
And unless Disney makes another, so that's the thing. Disney owns everything, but I think
they're about to own even more of everything.
But I think they're open to anything, where it's hey, everyone, come at us.
That's a new way to make money.
Because Rebel Strike, not so great, but I fucking love those old Rogue Squadron games. They're good. And I want those released on every console. And there's something about Switch exclusive. No, fuck that. Release that on everything.
Now, there's two other things to note about this story.
What is
One,
that?
Just because they turn the microtransactions off, that is not a victory for you to go buy it. That's not, if you weren't going to buy it before because of this shit.
On my timeline, if you were one of the persons yeah, awesome. No. You have to be the person that's do not celebrate this.
It has to come back and be not fucked up for you to celebrate, right?
And it's a shame because I think a few weeks ago, last time we had a podcast all together, I was man, Battlefront 2,
That looks good.
It looks good.
It does look good.
Single player campaign, yo.
I feel bad for the developers who had nothing to do with this and who busted their. I'm sure there were a couple of those people who were yeah, let's do box.
Oh, you know what? I also bet that the game is awesome.
Yeah, sure. Don't fucking buy it.
Look at that screenshot.
Yeah, it looks
There's
like a
bunch
movie.
of fucking stormtroopers going against whatever, Seth.
That's a Kylo Ren.
That looks like a Kylo Ren. Doesn't matter.
It looks video games. Don't buy it until they fix it, or just never. That's also the solution.
Yeah.
The second thing about this that I'm adding in here, because I saw it earlier.
Sure.
Need for Speed Payback also had super fucked up microtransactions and is actually called Need for Speed Payback, which is hilarious.
I should get my money paid back.
They recently put out a statement saying, "Oh, we're gonna change all that shit."
Also, all the reviews of the game are bad.
Whoops.
God.
So they're gonna fucking.
You can't get no more Burnout, eh? Burnout's not a thing.
Yeah, Burnout's gone. Ghost Games is fucking in the ether. I don't know. But like, you know, EA might have pushed it so far that they actually ruined it for everyone.
I'm actually glad that they did this.
I also want to give Blizzard a bunch of shout outs for being a bunch of bitchy cunts.
Yeah. I've seen this.
So when this was all going on, Blizzard put out a bunch of fucking schlocky ads
with StarCraft
because StarCraft 2 is free to play now, and like, that's crazy, microtransactions. It's like, as funny as those ads are that they take a dig at them, this is the same company that like gives China special exclusive loot boxes so that they don't have to reveal the loot drop rates for the rest of the world.
And also, it's Activision Blizzard. They don't need to do that.
No.
They're of the same level, if not higher, than EA.
Well, no, EA's got its own branch. If it's an order. But
you know what I mean?
But
like,
Activision Blizzard's right there.
So, I mean, like, if you're some, like, indie fuck or, like, you know, B studio, do this shit all you want. It's hilarious.
Oh, this shit's
But if you're on the
funny.
same level as that group, like, yeah, it doesn't look the best. Yes, StarCraft 2 is free to play. That's awesome. And StarCraft 2 is good. And StarCraft will always be good. StarCraft 1. So it's like, you don't really need to do this. You don't need to rub it in
I
their
brought
face.
that up too fast.
That doesn't matter. That's fine.
Oh,